lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the New Hampshire International Speedway. We are live for the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series, ready to do to 150 laps of battle here at the Magic Mile. Liam Irving joined up in the booth as always by Matt Metler. Matt, how you doing?
Hey, I've been looking forward to Saturday night since last week. Finally, it's upon us, the nighttime, the right time for DRL, dialing it way up north in the Northeast, where they're famous for fishing, and nothing is fresher than the trophy that you get if you win this late race, as they serve up Lobby the Lobster to the winner. And if you don't know what that's about, you're about to find out. Welcome to New Hampshire.
It's a fantastic facility we got here. It's a 1 mile track. It's a little bit different in the sense that that yellow line isn't really where the banking's going to start. It actually is about a lane up above that. So you'll see some of the guys try to get down there, use that to help point the car. You see Brandon Barby getting out there. Antonio Mancini, he's a new guy coming out, rocking the Jimmy Johnson Power of Pride car. PJ O'Leary also on the racetrack.
Yeah, PJ O'Leary in that 29 machine, as well as Brandon Broby in the 45 and Austin Collins. Broby had a great one going last week. Let's see if he can get some of that momentum back up here in the Northeast tonight. Austin Collins in the one machine, you know, that former champ always going to be a contender each and every racetrack, as we're now underway in qualifying.
Yes, sir. Austin Collins was quickest in practice. Looks like he's going to take his normal strategy to start at the back. Thomas Harmon getting out onto the racetrack. See what Mancini can do. He gets up into the wall, sliding. So he gets his lap in. That one did count. Try to get that ticker rolling so you guys can see where your favorites are going to start. Thomas Harmon down the back straightaway. Going to put down his first lap. Brandon Burby fast so far with a 30-30. It looks like most guys are electing to just take the one lap. Harmon to the top of the board with a 30-13. Jacob Blajulich getting out onto the racetrack now. Drift King. Drifted a little bit there.
Hey, he drives, so it's in his name, DK Drift King. Always great to have the 14 out there on the racetrack. Let me shift gears real quick back to Thomas Harmon. Last week, he really didn't have a chance for his long ball strategy or long game to come in as those cautions came out right around lap 40. How do you comp for that? You put the car on the pole, P1, and that's where he sits right now.
Yeah, there's no better place to be than right out front. You get clear track in front of you. Taylor Butcher Benjamin just completed his first lap. He jumps onto the pole with a 30.07.
Now that's a flyer, 30.07 from Taylor Butcher Benjamin. It's impossible to separate the 8 to 68. These guys are inseparable, and thank God, because they are so dynamic on the racetrack as TBB goes to the top of the board. As now we have 7 cars with times posted. Going to see if anyone else is going to try to make the session. We know Austin Collins always likes going from the front or the back to the front. See if Richard Springer is going to come out there, or if we're going to set the field with 7 drivers taking time.
Yeah, I guess we'll take a look, see what happens here. But while we've got a moment, we can go over some of our track facts for the day.
There she is, 76 degrees Fahrenheit, 68% relative humidity. That's what you would expect in the Northeast on a midsummer day. Partly cloudy skies, wind almost non-existent at 1 mile per hour. You're not going to have that invisible force working against you on the race car at that speed. And the track temperature, absolutely alarmingly at 101 degrees Fahrenheit. You wouldn't expect it with that mild air temp, but that's what the sun does when it hits the asphalt. So make sure those drivers are conscientious of that.
Yes, sir. Just a hair over a mile. Track info says 1.03. It's actually 1.01, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right, buddy. And you're the man. I mean, this is your neck of the woods here when it comes to all the statistics. No one better in the business than you, in my opinion, is now that iRacing.com pace car hits the grid. Do you think we got time to dial up our pole sitter, TBB, before we get it under green?
Oh, we sure do. Let's go ahead and bring him up in here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
Not too bad. You seem to put down a blazing fast lap at 30.07. Gets you on the pole here today. What do you got under the hood for that number 8 Budweiser car, and what's it going to take to keep the 68 behind you?
Well, gotta take care of the tires, of course. Feel like if we can get out front, it's a pretty tough track to pass on and very kind of single lane. And if you can get your an opponent in dirty air and makes it even difficult to pass. So just got to manage things the best I can, and not a very big field tonight, so I'm expecting a caution-free race. I mean, I might be wrong, but we'll see on that. But hopefully just keep it clean and be around there at the end to race for the win.
Awesome
Hey,
stuff.
Taylor,
Oh,
Matt
sorry.
up in the booth quickly before you roll off, but I see you have your arch nemesis or partner in crime, depending on how you look at it, the 68 on the outside. Is it going to be another 68-8 duel here tonight? How is this one going to roll off? What do you predict before you take off here?
Well, I'm sure I'll be having to race a lot of Thomas, and I'm sure Austin will come through the field as well. And I remember Thomas saying in his interview last week that he's not that good here, but I mean, we all know how that works out. He said he ain't that good at Martinsville, and
Well
end up
said.
having to race him at the end. So I feel like it's going to be another good one between the three of us.
I couldn't agree with you more. And clearly, you've done your homework. That's your pole sitter. TBB is that field gets set to roll off as they're moving now. 10 to start the race tonight as we get set to turn these boys loose for 150 laps from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Make sure you guys got all the condiments, all the refreshments. You know it's going to be wild from the drop of the green flag, as these boys always impress in prime time.
We sure do. Real quick, we'll run through the starting lineup for you. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon, Brandon Brorby, Antonio Mancini making his debut, Matt Sisler, PJ O'Leary, Jacob Gladulich, Ralph Fasano Sr., Austin Collins, and Richard Springer rounding out the field here today. Like Taylor said, a bit of a short field here, so expect a pretty clean race, but that doesn't mean anything's going to come easy for any of these guys. As that pace car gets ready, makes that hard left turn into the pits. The field is now in the hands of that 8 machine. Green flag is out. TBB gets away strong. Side by side into turns 1 and 2, almost for second place. Brorby stays back behind. Here's Mancini trying to get a run coming up on Brandon Brorby. He's got PJ O'Leary all over the back bumper of him.
Yeah, PJ's really been coming on strong here as of recent in that 29 Kevin Harvick throwback paint scheme. But how about Mancini in the 48 Jimmy Johnson throwback Chevrolet special? Good to see him making a return here to the series as that 29 car takes it down to the inside. It's going to slide up, and that may allow Matt Sisler in that Everham Dodge. You know he's always got that Hemi screaming. He's going to beat him in the drag race into the corner. Can he outbrake him on the bottom? Great entry there by the 48. He's hanging tough on the outside. Matt Sisler charging hard, though. It's going to be a drag race. Look at the 48 with the power move on the top side. That's impressive.
And it's definitely impressive. That 48 looks like it's handling pretty good. Might see the lanes move up just a little bit here, but I don't expect them to get too much out of the gray. You can see where it gets a little bit blacker. They've got a couple of rows of pavement here, a couple of lanes of pavement. Seems like that 48's able to work that second lane.
Yeah, I did not anticipate that, but Matt Sisler, if you don't succeed, try again, and he gets it right the second time, as he's going to go ahead and clear Marcini. Matt Sisler now in 5th. Marcini just falling off a couple spots. Oh, he's big time loose in that 48 car. Woo, what a job holding on to that. As he may have overheated the tires there a little bit as he was racing the 93 of Sisler. Really hard there for the position. And that's one of these things you got to be careful with on this racetrack. If you abuse or over-abuse that right rear tire, you will find out quick, fast, and the hard way as you suffer over the course of a green flag run. As we go back up front, Thomas Harmon right there just in front of the 45 of Brandon Brorby, who is bribing to make a pass here.
Oh, absolutely. He's just stalking that 68, looking to take away second place. Thomas has got himself a couple of car lengths of a gap now, but speaking of a gap, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's pulled out about 8/10 on the second and third place cars. So a good start there out of Taylor Butcher Benjamin here the first 5 laps, going all according to plan. There's still 145 laps to go, so.
Yeah, I mean, so many times this season we've seen when TBB starts on that front row or from the pole, I mean, he is the Iron Man in the first half of the race, if not longer. And that's what he's doing right here in typical fashion right now. What you'd expect and come to love about that 8-car lead he drives and attacks this racetrack is now that lead is approaching 1-second territory.
An 8-car is blazing fast right now. Brandon Burby not letting Thomas Harmon get away. He's going to try to cut down a little bit lower, get himself a nice run coming up off. He's within a car length and a half now. Probably still too far back to make that move, but Thomas Harmon doing absolutely everything he can to keep the 45 behind him. So far, he's doing a pretty good job, but here comes Burby down to the inside. Took a little bit of a peak there coming up off of 2. Falls back in line.
Yeah, he certainly did. And you can tell by the way that Harmon's gracefully getting in the corner. He's trying to really conserve those tires, and that's a big part of his winning formula. But Broby, he's really driving it in there, being aggressive off, and he's getting a great run on the 68 machine, especially down those straightaways on corner entry, where Harmon seems to be in conserve mode. As this battle is far from over, as Broby continues to inch closer to that Scooby-Doo machine.
Meanwhile, Richard Springer trying to get around Antonio Mancini. Up next to the wall there for the 21. It's getting dirty up there. You don't want to run up there.
Now that is no man's land. It's like there's almost a berm on this racetrack already, and we're only 10 laps in. You get up there, it's like going through snow, hitting the loose stuff, the marbles. Just like you seen, that car went up the hill. He stripped all of his speed off as he catches a little bit of the wall.
Yeah, just a little bit. Had to pull it off of there. Gets sideways down the back straightaway. Try to keep her straight. Did a good job saving it, though. 21, Richard Springer. Battle for second has not changed.
Yeah, they're right where we left him at almost the identical separation. As Broby is there, but as we say, Liam, time and time again, catching him is one thing, passing him, a completely different story.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And we talked with Taylor Butcher Benjamin a little bit before. He talked about even getting some dirty air on the cars behind him. Now, that could be a factor as to why Brandon Burby stalled out where he is, or maybe he's trying to conserve his tires too.
Whoa.
Big moment there.
Yeah, I'll say is that front end of the race car took off quick, fast, and in a hurry. Evasive action on the wheel by Broby to deploy the save. There's another nice job out there on the racetrack, as we've seen a couple big moments in 13 laps of action. 14 in the book so far, now at the line. As Broby continues to stalk Harmon in that 68 Chevrolet. As we go on board looking out the front bumper, you get a first-hand glimpse of the battle here for that second place position. Harmon owns it. Broby wants to take it. He just cannot get the couple extra car lengths he needs to really challenge for the position, as he's been working on this about the past 8-9 laps now.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Speaking of little while, it shouldn't be too much longer before Austin Collins is able to work his way up into the top 5. Currently sitting in 6th place right now, just behind Matt Sisler. Saw a little bit of damage to the right side of Sisler's car. Might have smacked the wall coming up off of the corner.
Yeah, I think he did indeed get a little piece of that wall there. Doesn't look too bad. He should be okay. As that 93 machine still bad fast out there on the racetrack. Matt Sisler still in that 5th place position. Like you said, though, AC Austin Collins doing awesome.
Oh, and around goes Mancini down the back straightaway.
Our first car's off in the grass. He's going to miss the wall.
Ah, he just...
A little piece there at the end.
Just kind of booped it there. He's going to back it up. Still green right now. He's off the track.
As the caution still does not come out, and I thought for certain we would, as that car was way off in the grass, but heartbreak there for the 48, as he's really going to suffer now as the caution does not happen. We stay under green flag condition, and as that is transpired on the racetrack, we'll go back to the replay.
Man, he was sideways for a little bit coming up off of the corner.
Yeah, he about drifted half of that corner, and just once you get that much angle in this race car, that horsepower. But what a job mitigating damage. Just like you said, he just barely nuffed the wall there. And while all this has happened, Taylor Butcher Benjamin has shot out to over a 3.5 second lead on the 68 of Harmon. I'm sorry, 2.40 seconds over the second place of Thomas Harmon.
Richard Springer back here trying to make this battle for fifth. A 3-car race as he's now chased down Austin Collins. It's kind of seeming like Austin's dealing with a little bit more of what Brorby is. Deep into the corner for Austin. Big send up on the top. He's going to try to keep that momentum to the top side of Sisler. Gets a little bit loose coming up off of the corner. He's got to check up. Now he's defending from Richard Springer.
It looked like the Indianapolis snake there as they were snaking all over the place going down the backstretch. Is like you said, Austin Collins, he just lit a torch and went flying into the cavern there as he really went into that corner hard, trying to get a run on that 93 of Matt Sisler as they still continue to battle. That 93 machine of Matt Sisler leads this 3-car tandem, or this 3-car train, if you will. Austin Collins, he's the meat, and the 21 of Springer is the last piece of bread in the sandwich, as that is 5th, 6th, and 7th right there, fighting hard for position.
Here comes Collins down to the inside of Sisler into one. He's going to dive it in deep. Gets down below that banking. Sisler's got a strong center part of the corner, though. Both of them get a little bit loose coming up off, but Matt Sisler with the better run coming up off the corner, he's going to be able to hold on to that position for now. Austin Collins, he likes to run that higher line, though, it seems.
Yeah, he does. He seems confident up there in his race car and his ability. I know that may not be the preferred line, but he's making it work as he's really giving Sisler everything he can handle right now as he continues to dial up the excitement meter on the back of that Dodge Everham race car.
And while all this is going
Whoa!
on...
Hold on to it.
Big moment there out of Richard Springer down the back straightaway. Got loose coming up. Yeah, sorry, Matt.
Okay, I was just going to say, on a dirt bike, that's called death wobble, and that's probably as close as you're going to see to losing it. What a catch by Springer, huh?
Fantastic heads-up driving there for the driver of the number 21 Valvoline car. The one car still trying to work his way over Matt Sisler, though. These guys just giving it their all, you know?
Oh, they're giving it everything they got right now. And I mean, if you look at the lap times, I mean, you're talking Matt Sisler, 31:01, Collins at 31:21, and Springer a 31:27. The difference is how they're getting that time. Matt Sisler is good coming off the corner. Austin Collins and Richard Springer are great on the exit of the corners. So they're basically balancing this time out. I know it's a couple tenths difference, but when you accompany that with the slide jobs and the roller skating going on, these guys aren't just making any ground on each other. Now the one has a run on the back of the 93. Is he going to be able to get the nose inside? He's not. He's going to wash up the racetrack as Austin Collins is still stuck in the black hole between the 93 of Sisler and the 21 of Springer.
I tell you what, if you're Austin Collins, as he dives down to the inside, getting down into turns 3 and 4, going to try it once again. That top side for Matt Sisler seems to be a little bit stronger. Coming up off the corner, Sisler gets into the wall a little bit, put Austin Collins up into the top 5.
There you go. The man that will sit there and wear you down time and time again. He is relentless. Finally is able to get the victory and claim P5 as he up now 4 spots tied with Richard Springer for the biggest mover of the race. Springer says, hey, if you can do it, I can do it too. And now he's going to take his shot at the 93 of Sizzler as they are door to door coming off 4.
Not quite enough speed there for the 21 to keep the nose down there, but Matt Sisler doing a great job running the top side. You see Springer slide wide a little bit in the middle of the corner. Looks like Mancini might have had himself another bit of a loose moment there. But I tell you what, if you're Austin Collins, you're so happy that you made that pass because the guys in front of you are gaining on you. That gap is increasing. And when you feel like you're stuck behind a slower car, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, you're not kidding. When you're in race mode, strapped in that machine, nothing will drive the daylights out of you more than a race car in front of you acting as a school bus out there at like rush hour traffic, knowing that if you were able to just get around them, if the Red Seas are to part, you'll be able to go up there and run those leaders down or at least maintain the damage control. But every moment you're behind that school bus, or in this case, that race car in front of you, you're absolutely right. It feels like an eternity.
Thomas Harmon, he's increased the gap a little bit over Brandon Brorby. It's now about half a second. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who we were just watching, he's got 3.6 seconds of a lead here, 28 laps into the race. It's on average about a 10th and a quarter faster each lap. Last time around, he was tenth of a lap quick, 10th of a second rather quicker.
And I'll tell you what, all those tenths add up as you continue now to see what those tenths look like on the racetrack. As we go back up to the 8, all business as usual out in front. He has led from the drop of the green flag as we've been caution-free. 30 laps now written into the history books. This is Dynasty Racing League from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And if you're just turning in live on the SRM, obviously you got it tuned into the right YouTube channel. If you haven't become part of the family, just get it done already. You know you want to smash the like button, ring the bell. That's also going to help that YouTube algorithm put these drivers in front of more guys that will cheer them on and root them on each and every Saturday night, just like you. As we're now over 3.5 thousand subscribers. Couldn't do it with all your support. Here's the next 3.5K, but we need you guys to help us out. The best way to do that, smash like and subscribe. And when the racing action is this good, how could you not want to? As we see Matt Sizzler now, he's starting to struggle a little bit with 31 laps on these Goodyear Eagles. And there in front of him is Mancini. The 48 had a strong opening, but found himself slideways off the corner, got deep into the grass. And as Liam said a couple laps ago, had another big moment out there on the racetrack.
He's got Matt Sisler behind him, and you know Sisler's going to want to get by as quick as he can. And Sisler, big time sideways coming up off of turn 2. I'm not even sure he lifted. He didn't lose much time to Richard Springer, if any.
I don't think he lifted either. We got to go back and look at that again when we have a moment, but that was a big time power move, no lift. I mean, it's Matt Sizzler after all. We don't call him Sizzle Time for nothing. As here comes Springer rotating on the top, trying to get a run up the high side of the racetrack. We've seen a couple others make it work. Sizzler is going to get a good run off the corner, and so is the 21. He is right on the back of that Dodge.
Running on board with Matt Sisler here, looking out the back for Richard Springer. Getting back to the front of the field, though, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. At Ortana, Pennsylvania. almost a home track. This is probably Pocono's probably a lot more of a home track for a Pennsylvanian, but
I mean, this is a close second, though. I was kind of thinking the same thing, so you know it would mean a lot to him to get the win here tonight as well. As this track is a lot different than Pocono, but hey, anytime you're close to home, makes those wins even more special. As we got a cluster of cars here, we got Sizzler, they got the 48, who's trying to stay alive here in this one as he's fallen in the hole here early in the race. Now the 21 of Springer is going to clear, and he is back to just dialing up all sorts of mayhem on Matt Sizzler in that Everham Dodge, who refuses to give up the position to Richard Springer.
we're going to try a little bit higher of a line there. Now try to later exit, seeing what he can get in terms of run down the back straightaways. Seemed to be a little bit faster on exit than he has been, but not quite enough to make a difference in terms of where Matt Sizzler is.
Yeah, you can see
Look
there
at
the
that
48,
man.
Oh, did you see the gloves through the windshield of that race car? I mean, they were pointed every way but straight.
I was busy looking at that white smoke coming from the rear tires. That 48 is not handling the way that the driver wants it to. Antonio right now is kind of struggling, waiting for that next pit stop.
Yeah, they got the drift mode set up in that 48 right now. It's looking great for drift, as that car is just really hanging out on the wild side each and every corner. Great job by Antonio holding on to that wild card.
Yeah, maybe not the way you want your debut to go, but definitely putting some clips on the highlight reel in that 48 car. And Richard Springer doing the same there. He's got a big loose moment coming up off of turn 2. Cuts all the way down towards the grass and keeps her straight, keeps her going, but going to lose a couple of car lengths to Matt Sizzler just in front of him.
Yeah, I think now that we're almost approaching lap 40 here, these Dr. Feelgoods are now going to come Dr. Feelbads. This New Hampshire asphalt just cheese gratering away at these tires over the course of this run. Oh, and when you throw, 900 horsepower at it and 700 plus foot-pounds of torque, it's really easy to start melting it down here in New Hampshire. I think that's a big reason why we're seeing so many of these drivers really letting it hang out, aka getting loose, center off.
Yeah, it's a super tough track here. These long, sweeping corners don't do any favors for the tires either. I tell you what, once you get sideways, these corners are so long, man. It's tough to keep it straight without going up towards the fence,
No, well said. And that's why you see these cars yawing like that. The driver's really having to get up on the wheel and saw on it to keep that car pointed in the right direction. Going back to the one from Pilot Mountain, North Carolina. You know who we're talking about. A little bit different paint scheme tonight, but the driver is the same. His clutch as always, as he gets a little loose as well in the one. Continues to be the biggest mover of the race, up 4 positions. Austin Collins in that 5th place position, 3.21 seconds behind PJ O'Leary. And look who's charging back in on the one, Matt Sizzler, making a late charge here on this set of tires, as pit stops have to be looming here in the near future. Judging by the way where these cars are handling out there on the racetrack, they don't want to take any more of this as long as if they don't have to, bud.
No, probably not. But another thing that we got to consider is the fall off that we're seeing. The best lap of the race was put down by race leader Taylor Butcher Benjamin at a 30.26. Last time around, he ran a 31.32, so we've got just over a second of fall off here. That's going to raise the question. When do you want to make the pit stop? Are you going to try the undercut? Are you going to try the overcut? And of course, can you make it on one stop, or do you want to try for 2?
Yeah, a lot of important questions there. Few paths to decide ultimately the future outcome of this race. And as always, we see a lot of strategy and strategery in the series that often plays a huge role in who wins these races. As you can tell, these drivers have their hands absolutely full right now. This racing service throwing everything it has to offer at them as everyone is dancing coming off the corner. Not much banking here to help you at all. It is minimal. And as Liam said in the early opening of the race, it's not there off the yellow line. It's about a half lane up. As Sizzler continues to chip away at that one of Austin Collins, who was able to finally get by him about 25 laps ago. Sizzler now faster here on the longer side of things, which could be the right part of the formula here, especially as this league is so accustomed to running flag to flag with 0 cautions. As we go back on board with Austin Collins.
Yeah, running on board with Collins, you can see Springer getting a little bit closer once again to Matt Sisler just behind him. We might be seeing that same 3-car race for 5th, just with a couple different players in different spots.
Yeah, shuffle the deck a little bit, if you will, and no doubt, without question, 5th has been the hot spot on the racetrack for this pretty much the entirety of this run so far. And why not have the former champ, true veteran? Whoa, look at that. They
Big
are
time
really
slide.
tripped in that corner. Yeah, I know. I mean, you would think after all the sliding, those rear tires would really be cooked right now.
Oh, I'm sure they are. These guys have got to be complaining to their crew chiefs right about now. You mentioned that 101-degree track temp as Austin Collins, big slide once again. That 100-degree track temp does not do any favors for these tires. It gets them hot, it gets them slick, it gets them greasy. These guys are struggling on these tires, and here comes Austin Collins into the pits. He's the first of our takers. GK going to follow him in this time as well. Jacob Glodjelich into the pits.
As the seal
46
is,
laps complete.
and just like you were saying, we finally broke the seal. The one set, it is time. I am coming down as he has his box in sight. He's going to go ahead, get all 4 tires stopped inside, does not go across. That jack goes up on the race car as we go back to the front of the field. Taylor Butcher Benjamin on his own island in the Pacific Ocean is he is 7.5 seconds ahead of the 68 of Thomas Harmon. This 8 looks scary good right now because he clearly has the short run speed and he has the long run ball.
Yeah,
We've seen this though, and we know what Thomas Harmon does. He always finds a way to really dial it up and hit the afterburner in the closing stages as he sits there in second place. But again, the difference is he's almost a half a continent behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin as he is now over 7.5 seconds ahead of that 68 machine.
Ralph Passato Sr. having himself a little bit of a moment coming up off of 2. Front damage to that car. He's been up into the fence, and not the way you want to start a race here. 50 laps in, 100 laps to go, but sideways moment there for Passato. He's just kind of trying to get out of the way. He's a couple of laps down at this point, not trying to get in any fights or involved in any battles for position, any fights for spots. Pretty good day there for Ralph Fasano in terms of the recovery. Obviously, you never want to have a damaged race car, but we saw in Midday Racing League how getting out there, completing all the laps can be important. As Matt Sisler actually got passed on the last lap because of his internet connection falling out. Driver who was about 20 laps down stuck it out, made a pass on the last lap, got an extra point for it.
You know, I know we're sitting here and we have the camera there on the 21, but you want to talk about Matt Sisler. I mean, this guy has made a career out of facing adversity at the starts of these races across multiple series. I mean, race after race, usually he has a connection issue. He starts half the races from pit road, goes 2 laps down early, and yet this man still has a way to get up there and contend for wins. If he can find a way to get that streamlined and fixed, Lord help the competition in multiple series, because that 93 would be lights out. As, like I said, it's almost impossible to overcome those objectives it's a whole other level when you go up and you're still contending for wins. And like you said, almost had the win, and he got one robbed from him as he lost his internet connection. But that says a lot about the drive in that 93 of Matt Sizzler. As we go back up here to the point, Taylor Butcher Benjamin has not pitted yet, still out on the racetrack, and that lead continues to grow over Mr. Long Run himself, Thomas Harmon, in that 68 machine, over 8 seconds.
Yeah, I tell you what, that 8 car has got to be the only one out here feeling good about his tires. Staying on a little bit longer, he might try to put this to a one-stop strategy. Obviously, Austin Collins, Richard Springer, DK, they all came in, took 4 tires and fuel, so they'll be likely trying for a 2-stopper. But we'll see what the fall-off looks like. Looks like Antonio Mancini has had himself another problem here. Jumped over to the pits. We'll take a look at that in just a few moments. Another thing I want to bring up, Matt, watch when these guys come out of the corners. You can see all of the different tread marks from where these guys are sliding. It's really not been an easy day on these tires. We mentioned that 100-degree track temp.
No, I mean, if you're just chiming in, looking at the racetrack, you would think it was a drift competition we were broadcasting here tonight just because of that alone. That's a great point, but it's not. This is a Gen 4 race, and this race car, I mean, this is what this race car really is about, though. It's high horsepower. It's hard to control. It's like jumping on a Bronco, that's just, level 5. If you can hold on, he's going to take you to victory. But if you're a little weak or you let it go just a little too much, it will eat you alive and put you in the wall. And that's really what this race car is. And this racetrack, it really matches well with this race car. If you like a lot of drama and excitement on the racetrack and being up on the wheel, having to eat every lap, you can't go wrong here with the formula. As now the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin finally hits pit road, Liam, after 58 laps on one set of tires.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's not going to be quite far enough to split it in 2. So likely another pit stop going to be coming for the 8. The 45 is in as well. PJ O'Leary. Thomas Harmon came in last time around. He's back out on the racetrack. Austin Collins was able to complete that pass with the undercut, though. Came in on lap number 48. About 10 laps sooner than a lot of these guys. 47, rather, for Austin Collins. 10 laps sooner than Taylor Butcher Benjamin. 11 laps sooner than Brandon Brorby and PJ O'Leary. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, even with staying 10 extra laps out on tires, still got himself a 7-second lead over Austin Collins.
That is frightening for the rest of the field, especially when you look at the fall off, which was, in that 1.3 to 1.5 second range. And like you said, stayed out an additional 10 laps and still coming out of the pits as now everything is stabilized and it's still over 4 seconds. I mean, that's alarming. You're going to really have to start thinking about your setup and strategy if you're going to want to contend here with TBB here tonight.
Yeah, real quick, show you what happened to Mancini, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you see Mancini there just, he
wow.
overcorrect and helicopters it head on into the wall.
Kind of shocked that one didn't end up bringing out a caution, but immediately jumps to the pits, gets out of the way of the rest of the cars. And
yeah, I think Race Control's having that steak and lobster dinner, and I can't blame them, as the seafood is just great in this part of the country. As we go back to live action out on the racetrack, Harmon now, he's going to hit the flame and screech by the 1 on the top side of the racetrack. Harmon now up to second. Austin Collins, your biggest mover, up 6, but they're still almost 9 seconds behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
TBB is absolutely on rails here tonight. Gotta be a good feeling in that 8 camp. If you're setting up on the pit box or you got your logo on the car somewhere, You would be feeling really good, feeling the magic here at the Magic Mile. Here goes PJ O'Leary down to the inside of Matt Sisler. Sisler got a little bit loose and honestly helped him turn it. Kind of cut down in front of that Mom and Pop's number 29 Good Wrench car.
Yeah, sometimes you got to have lady luck on your side. Even as bad as it's been for Matt Sisler here, especially in the opening of these races, you're absolutely right. That loose action there really helped him make the quarter. And the 29's probably sitting in his race car shaking his head saying, "Are you serious? I can't believe it."
The top side, I mean, it's not super dominant, but it's so tough to make a pass when somebody gets a good run coming up off. You're also compromised because you lose a lot of racetrack that you would have used to try to get up next to the wall. Here comes PJ once again, this time on exit of turn number 4. Looks down to the inside. Nothing doing quite yet. Now he's going to try it one more time.
Yeah, you can't say PJ O'Leary doesn't have any fight in the seat of that race car because he is staying after Sisler and being relentless on lap 65. You want to see, you ask yourself how important track position is. Look no further than the battle for 7th on the racetrack as O'Leary is deliriously trying to get around Matt Sisler. Almost gives him an accidental chrome horn as he still can't find the right GPS to get that 29 piloted around the 93.
Brought a little bit of a higher line there. It seemed to help his momentum coming up off. Within a car length now of the race lead, or not the race lead, of 6th place, Matt Sisler. Rocking just
Almost
a touch higher, and now coming up off the corner, trying for a little bit of a crossover.
Yeah, as Matt Sisler is doing his best impersonation of Ryan Newman out there on the racetrack, he is not going to let the 29 by. Maybe this time finally, as Sisler gets big time slideways. And with that, the 29 finally gets the spot.
Yes, sir. PJ O'Leary up into 6th place, and that was a tough fight. He got the job done. Moving forward now. He's already got a couple of car legs on Matt Sisler. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. And we'll be right back with some more fantastic racing action here from New Hampshire.
Hey, this is
Back live here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin continues to lead. He's opened up the gap to 10 seconds after 73 laps. That car is absolutely on fire today. Thomas Harmon still sits in second place. Brandon Brorby in third. Austin Collins made it up to fourth from 10th place starting spot, but he was running as high as second after trying the undercut. BJ O'Leary rounding out the top five. You saw Richard Springer getting close there. Was racing with Matt Sisler a little bit. Matt Mettler's up at the booth here.
Yeah, I got out there for a couple laps, but you know what? Instead of going out there and really trying the laps, I just enjoyed the time talking with Thomas Harmon and his teammates. Always appreciate their time before the race, and I just pulled the car back down pit road and talked with them about strategy a little bit before I came up here to the broadcast booth. Really appreciated their time as they're working really hard before the green flag here tonight to do everything they can to maximize performance out of their race cars, which they do so well week in and week out. So you got it locked right now on P.J. O'Leary, who is lurking in that 29 car on the back of Collins. He has that 5th place position. As you see a big face of Monte Carlo and that sharp nose. Now P.J. O'Leary dials it up top.
Yeah, Collins ain't going to fight him too hard. He knows he's on older tires. Lets him go up on the top side. Put Austin Collins back into 5th place. Him and Richard Springer, both our biggest movers of the day. Both of them up for Springer. Big time sideways down the back straightaway. Nice correction there. And keeps her going straight.
Yeah, Springer almost sprung himself into an all-you-can-eat safer barrier as we go back up front to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, as he is absolutely went supernova in that 8 machine, as he is now 11 seconds ahead of 68 Thomas the Hammer Harmon and almost 14 seconds over the 45 of Brandon Brobey. Those are two fierce competitors. Heck, they're all fierce competitors in this league. And yet, that Budweiser 8 machine has been on another planet since we have dropped the green flag here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, so far it's looking to be a pretty special day for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Definitely got the car to beat. We've still got a long way to go though. 79 laps will be complete this time around, which is going to lead us with 71.
Time flies when you're having fun. And when you're going around here just over 30 seconds a lap, keeping everything straight cash money on the racetrack, time flies. It's like you said, already on lap 80. I mean, I don't know how TBB does it. I mean, the car is bad fast out of the gate. You would think that means increased tire wear as we go on board. Has a little offset in the wheel, so he comes down, he gets it in the corner. Here the tire's scrubbing a little bit. He's off the throttle there. Look how smooth he picks up that throttle off the corner. That's like trying to keep water in a wet sponge. Listen to this. Right here. The precision, the discipline. I cannot tell you how hard it is to do that. That is some of the best throttle control you will ever see. I can guarantee you of that. That's a big reason why he's this fast here for so long.
That definitely is. Jump a little bit further back. Thomas Harmon rocking 2nd place right now. He's got just under 3 seconds over Brandon Brorby. Last time around, Harmon was a touch quicker, about 4/100ths of a second quicker.
He had a 31.28 that lap to a 31.33. O'Leary still having a great run in that throwback Kevin Harvick paint scheme. And to shift gears here really quick, I'm really looking forward to seeing Kevin Harvick in that 29 as we close the season out this year for his last ride, reminiscent of what they did with Dale Jr. in his final race now, which I can't believe it's been that long, and he gave the helmet to Rick Hendrick. Kevin Harvick dialing up a similar exit, and we're looking forward to that at the end of the year. Springer, he's doing the slide ride in that 21 Ford Fusion as well, as he's up 4 spots, tied with AC Austin Collins for that biggest mover of the race award.
Yeah, Springer's doing pretty good here. He's trying to chase down Austin Collins. Collins obviously on those older tires, struggling a little bit. Shouldn't be too tough for the 21 of Springer to get around him. But he's stabilized about a second back.
Yeah, these tires will plateau at some point, and how you drive the car really determines, depending on which tire model you have. And that's one of the great things about talking to Thomas Harmon, and I really value his time. He was kind of educating me there a little bit on how that works. But the problem with that is, you know, when you get a couple seconds in between you, and then you go to utilize what you have saved, by the time you make it to the back of that competitor or that position, you know, your tires are that much hotter, and now you have to fight that dirty air. You have to play that chess match, and it just makes it, it's like you're hitting a brick wall out there. As we've seen some of the best in the business take 10, 11, even 12 laps to complete a lap here on the racetrack. As we widen the camera angle out here just to show you what we're talking about, is 14 Drift King on Drift Road. As you know, he's got 4 Dr. Feelgoods and fuel scheduled to go into that race car. Is the man on a mission? He must have a thing for lobster, because he knows he gets a trophy, a fresh one, if he gets it home here today. Back to Richard Springer in the 21, just outside the top 5 in that 6th place position. He now has Austin Collins in his sights, just a little over 1 second behind. And let's see how Springer is getting into these corners here. A little bit of a higher arc, and that's the same thing the one there of Austin Collins is doing. And you can see just how careful and gingerly they have to be with that throttle on exit in order to keep that back of that race car stuck to the racetrack.
Just about a second separating Collins and Springer right now. Like I said, those tires kind of plateauing a little bit on the one machine. Last time around was a 31.64 compared to a 31.56 out of Matt Sisler. Richard Springer 31.76, Austin Collins 31.81. Last 3 laps, the last lap for the bottom 3 on the lead lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so close. I mean, really, all the competition there, everyone's basically in that 31-second bracket outside of DK, who just had fresh Goodyear Eagles put on their race car. The only driver out here, really, that's had a massive, noticeable increase in times, you know, throughout the course of this race. No surprise, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. There's, we go back up to the 8. I mean, he's consistently running low or high 31 4s, low 31 5s. And that's even with the pace that he has ran, where he was able to just add on to that 7-second lead he had when he came out of the pits. Now he's almost doubled it, as that lead is now a whopping 13.16 back to Harmon in that 68.
Almost half a lap at this point. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is on rails. He is a man on a mission tonight. Who knows? He might even try to lap the whole field.
I wonder if he has Limp Bizkit playing in the background, rolling or something, because that's what he's doing. He is slicing and dicing, and like you said, he is on rails, and that's what it looks like. You'd never think that was that was rubber, making the car just absolutely perfect around this racetrack. Because now he's zoomed back in on the 68 Scooby-Doo ride, piloted by Hammer Harmon himself, Thomas. And the 68 and the 8 are there once again, 1-2 on the pylon. But they literally, it feels like they have 1,000 miles between them out there. It's like you said, just about a half a lap, the distance of separation. You typically don't see that with these two, especially now as we're approaching that 100 lap mark. This is where Harmon is usually really starting to knock on the back door of Benjamin, but not today. It's absolutely reversed as he is consistently checked out from the drop of the green flag. Butcher Benjamin just on a full-fledged bender on the racetrack, chewing up the competition here tonight.
It's been a phenomenal show for TBB out here in the race lead. Looks like we're probably going to be getting ready for the second round of pit stops as these guys approach lap number 100. Be interesting to see who blinks first. Last time it was Austin Collins, and it seems like those tires are hurting him now, but he's fallen back into the 5th place. It's where he's run a lot of the day. Richard Springer unable to get, he's just within a second of him now, but Richard Springer unable to get closer.
And the way these guys race in this series, it really keeps you honest on your pit strategy, and it really limits, someone from like Austin Collins for gambling on 2 tires, because the likelihood of us slowing down before the checkered flag is slim to none. And because of that, you pretty much have to run the race at the mercy of the puppet master, who in this case is Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
Yeah, he's getting ready to start catching up to some of these guys, put him a lap down. Matt Sisler's just coming down the backstretch in turn 2. About half a straightaway in front of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The other half straightaway to Richard Springer, who's second just behind Austin Collins. That time, big time loose there for Richard Springer coming up off of turn number 4. He's within 3/4 of a second now of Austin Collins, but Collins
some of these
had himself a bit of a moment there.
Yeah, some of these guys look like they're on a dirt track at times here tonight. And I know it's sim racing, but with force feedback, everything else, I guarantee you a lot of these guys are breaking a sweat, holding onto these race cars on exit of these corners. As we're starting to do the jig again here, as we're quickly approaching lap 100. One taker on pit road so far. That was the 14. Is now here comes sizzle time in the Hemi Charger. That 93 looking for 4 in fuel. As Taylor Butcher Benjamin keeps the warp drive engaged on that Budweiser Chevrolet and is now approaching 15 seconds on Thomas Harmon. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Now, we've seen how good Harmon has been in these longer runs, but we're on lap number 100 now, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin hasn't looked back. A little bit of a lead change during the green flag pit stop cycle, but
no, he's driving like he grabbed that rear view mirror and threw it out the window of that race car on the pace laps before we dropped the green flag. He just said, you know what? I'm better than you guys. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to run my race and I'm going to make you beat me heads up. And that's the mentality you got to have as a race car driver when you pilot a race car. You have to amp yourself up and psych yourself to thinking that you're better than everyone out there on the racetrack. Any type of advantage you can give yourself proves to be monumental at times on the racetrack. And whatever the Budweiser Chevrolet dialed up tonight, man, it has had the sauce. That sauce is boss in that race car because it is bad.
the sauce is boss in that race car.
Why not? The sauce is boss. Go back there to Austin Collins there in the 1, and you're right. He is absolutely has his hands full off those corners.
Yeah, he really does. We'll see if he's going to come in, when he's going to come into the pits. He was the first one to come in that last time around. Came in on lap 47. 10 laps earlier than TBB did, but I wonder if seeing how his tires were affected by that extra 10 laps, maybe he's trying to shorten up the final stint.
Yeah, I think, you know, if anyone knows out there on the racetrack, they're going to have to really gamble, go Las Vegas high stakes here to try and figure out a solution to Taylor Butcher Benjamin. It's the driver of that 1 machine. And I bet you that's exactly what he's doing. Is usually you're spot on with those calls as well. Oh, look at this, Springer and Sizzler. They haven't had enough. They're going to go back to it again here for like round 3 or 4. And here we are with the 1 of Austin Collins again. We're getting a little replay of what we had earlier in the race. Is the 93 of Sizzler. He's going to take it down low. The 1's going to really, have a moment in the corner. That's going to allow Springer to get by as well. As Austin Collins says, nope, I don't want any of this. Smart decision by the driver of that 1 machine.
Yeah, Sisler and Springer still racing hard into turns 1 and 2. Big loose there out of Matt Sisler. Gonna give Springer the chance to get back down to the bottom.
That looks like a P51 Mustang doing a tail slap and Matt Sisler as he just walked it way out on exit like it was nothing. I would have did that. I would have been halfway through that safer barrier. Matt Sisler, no problem. Incredible.
A little bit of a crossover here now as Sisler looks down at the bottom on Springer. They have the preferred lane into turns 3 and 4. Coming off of turn 4, the 21, he's going to be right where you want to be.
So we have a tandem race competition here at New Hampshire in the middle of the DRL Dynasty Racing Series competition. As they finally decide to call it quits, really not sure who the winner was there, as that would have been perfect on the scoring chart and how they score that type of competition. Look at Springer come up and throw a big block on Sizzler.
Sizzler dives it in deep. He knows that 21 is going to enter in a little bit wider. Goes in deep, tries to use up all the racetrack he can. See him sliding up just a hair. Austin Collins into the pits now, lap 106.
And this should be the 1's final pit stop on the night. Money stop for him. The call, you guessed it, 4 tire Sunoco race fuel, as he can definitely go the distance from here. But the man going the distance, going for speed. Yes, I am quoting Cake, the song The Distance. As it's fitting, is this Budweiser man. He's had the plan from the start of the race. Taylor Butcher Benjamin continues to put the hurt on the field. 14.8 seconds to the good.
Yeah, what a drive out of Taylor Butcher Benjamin now. Like you said, 14 seconds to the good. We'll see if Austin Collins with the undercut, where he's going to fall out. Thomas Harmon, Brandon Burby, PJ O'Leary, Richard Springer rounding out the top 5. DK's got caught by Richard Springer. Springer makes the path, gets around him.
You remember there, DK pitted really early there. And he was able to benefit from those fresh tires, but now he pays the price later in the run as these other guys now have the shoes reversed, and he has the old stuff, and these guys now on those brand new shoes. Here comes Matt Sisler. He's now going to take a turn. Going to try and pilot that 93 machine around the 14, who works to the top side of the racetrack. Plenty of room. As now he rotates the bottom, power off. 14 gets a little bit of that New Hampshire wall. Takes some paint off.
15.5 seconds for TBB. Here comes Austin Collins up on the outside, trying to get one of his laps back.
as projected. Taylor Butcher Benjamin does not wince at it at whatsoever. He gets it done the hard way in the 1. So cycle Austin Collins back on the lead lap, on the tail end of the lead lap, but on the lead lap nonetheless in that 8th place position. And look at that interval. It is now over 15 seconds, almost 15 and a half. That is supernatural in that race car tonight. That is just incredible.
But it's almost like he's the only one who got the horsepower upgrade.
That's a great way to put it. That's perfect. I could not agree with you more. It looks like this is the ARCA car versus a one-man army in the Gen 4.
And obviously that's not the case. TBB has just got this track down. You know, he's able to save his tires, able to keep it clean. We're listening before with how smooth he was getting on the throttle. Throttle control is key at a track like this with these long sweeping curves and not a lot of banking. Definitely is going to get you loose coming up out of the corners. We've seen a lot of these guys getting loose, so.
Or maybe he's that excited about some fresh lobster. Maybe he's a big seafood guy. Knows he's getting one of the best fresh lobsters here if he wins the race. Maybe that's part of it. Not sure. Oh, look at the 93 slap it out a little bit there. Take a walk on the wild side again. Check. Matt Sizzler just hovering right outside the top 5 there. And this is where he seems to kind of just stall out. Has a great car. His times are very competitive. But he just can't seem to crest that 5th place position, which is currently occupied by the 21 of Richard Springer.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it for a while. For a little bit there, I thought they were going to be inseparable. Got through that side-by-side battle. Richard Springer gets away. Thomas Harmon, Brandon Brorby, they're coming into the pits. But PJ O'Leary into 2nd place.
Great run continues for PJ as you're looking at Harmon on the money stop. And he's typically the cash money man as he comes to stop at work, or the crew going to work for the final time, as you see the 45 follow him in on down as he gets service as well, which, as you said, brings PJ O'Leary all the way up to 2nd. But he's 26 seconds off the back of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who is literally getting ready to put PJ O'Leary a lap down.
That is wild. Yeah, PJ's in the pits now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin is the only car on the lead lap right now.
I mean, now you're talking Richard Petty status, doing Richard Petty type things back in the mid to late 1970s. I mean, you just don't see this in the modern NASCAR era. But I mean, we've talked about this earlier. He didn't go all the way. Well, now it's been done. He put the entire field a lap down before he came down pit road. Just what a drive tonight by Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The 68, you see him there in the purple through sectors 1. Is he going to put up his fastest lap of the race? We're about to find out. As he goes 30-14, fastest lap of the race for Thomas Harmon. As
That's
someone has
blazing
just
fast.
Yeah, his crew chief just gave him the green light to let it rip, and that he did. As the 68 has lit the wick. But how much time is he going to have to make up on Taylor Butcher Benjamin as he is now off pit road coming back up to speed? It is still going to be like climbing Mount Everest for the 68. It's going to be over 10 seconds. I cannot believe this. 12 seconds back is Harmon, even with a monster lap, of a 30-14. That's how good that 8 has been tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely been on a tear all day. We're gonna go ahead and give you guys a quick little turn it up break. So we'll be right back with the finish. BJ O'Leary down to the inside of Matt Sisler, trying to take away a spot in the top 5. Sisler doesn't want to give it up. Fresher tires for PJ O'Leary by about 20 laps. Matt Sisler came in on 97, PJ on 116. Much fresher tires. Freshest tires of all go to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who stayed out the longest on that run. Stayed out until a lap 118. Now working lap 126. He's got fresh tires on. And he actually went down, put down the best lap of the race with a 30-10 while we were away.
Yeah, he did that while we were in the middle of a turn it up session. And he said, Thomas Harmon, I see you. I got you. Watch this. As he goes, as you said, a 30-10. And you know what's absolutely, a statement maker about that 8 and what he's done tonight? When you were saying has the freshest tires in the business right now or on the field, and yet he has a 13-second lead? Typically, if your car is really good, if you are lights out, you'll be able to come out with the lead and maybe have a slight advantage. This man stayed out, I think it was plus 10, 11, maybe even 12 laps more than the 68, has the freshest tires on the field, and still has over a 10-second lead. That is exactly, thank you. I don't have the words to describe how big of a deal that is. This is a big deal here on the racetrack between Springer and O'Leary. Both these guys having great runs here tonight. As O'Leary looking very Kevin Harvick-esque in that race car, refuses to give up, refuses to move over. And each and every lap just fighting for his life out there, finding ways to be faster on that racetrack. And he has been solidly inside the top 5 all night tonight. Oh, here comes Collins. That was
looking down
almost
to the bottom. Almost a bit of contact through turns 1 and 2 there. Thought he might have gotten into the bumper, but I think they got away with it.
Yeah, I think Sisler hit drift mode there at the right time, which allowed the near miss, which that could have been the first lollipop of the day on the field, especially if they were to make contact right there in the corner when that car is really loaded up. But it's still a John Force special. Here we go, side by side, full send, getting on the brakes, as we still don't have it settled halfway through turns 3 and 4. Sizzler dialing up the Hemi power on the outside. Here comes the one as the drag race across the finish line back into the turns 1 and 2 complex as he takes it all the way down to just about the grass. Austin Collins. These guys are putting on a show.
Absolutely fantastic stuff we see out of Austin Collins and Matt Sisler. Collins, he's got a little bit fresher tires than Matt does by about 9 laps. So would imagine he should be able to get around that 93, but how many times have we said this year that catching somebody is one thing, passing them is a whole nother story.
Yeah, especially when Matt Sisler makes his car as wide as a 747. He makes it impossible for you to get around him.
That's what the crew chiefs, that's what the owners all love.
That's why I made the Ryan Newman reference earlier. I mean, and that's not a slap. I mean, that's a tip of the hat to that 93 machine. I mean, that is utilizing all phases of racing to your advantage. And when you're not making contact and can do it this good, it is a big deal. As clearly the one has the speed, but the 93 just finds a way to just put a force field up and does not let the one come out the other side of the black hole, as they're still door-to-door tandem drifting off of 4. Drag race to the start-finish line once again. Sisler has the lead into 1.
Side by side coming up out of turn number 2. Austin Collins. Ooh, little sideways moment out of Sisler. That's going to give Collins a bit more momentum down on the bottom side. He should be able to get him clear now. Less than 93 dives it in, which he does.
Look at the drive.
Way deep.
You're not supposed to be able to do that up there. Matt Sisler says you can. I'll show you. But the one finally able to clear Matt Sisler. And how much of those new tires did Collins have to use up to get around the 93? That's all part of the game, the strategy in auto racing. And Matt Sisler just took him to school right there as far as defense goes.
Yeah, don't look too far back behind these guys. Taylor Butcher Benjamin getting ready to put them down a lap again. The top 7 are all on the lead lap.
Top 7, but not for long. I mean, I can't believe this, that Taylor Butcher Benjamin is about to possibly put Matt Sisler and Austin Collins a lap down in the same event with 14 laps to go.
It could definitely happen. Laps are winding down here, but still a lot of time for things to play out.
Oh, as we know, and we've seen it time and time again, it is not over until it's over. As these guys have served up some miraculous, wild, crazily energetic finishes in this series. You're absolutely right. But right now, live on the racetrack as it stands, Taylor Butcher Benjamin is threatening to put the 93 of Matt Sisler a lap down under green flag conditions, straight up racing, wheeling it out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal drive for this 8 car, this 8 team. We'll have to figure out what he likes about this track so much. What makes it click with him so much better. This is a track I could never figure out on anything. It didn't matter if it was NASCAR Heat, Dirt Daytona, you know, EA Sports NASCAR games. I could never figure out Martinsville.
There's 2 tracks that
New Hampshire.
give me,
Sorry.
There's 2 tracks. I agree. There's 2 tracks in this series, the circuit that they run, that give me absolute nightmares. This is one. The other, the Lady in Black Darlington. Doesn't matter if console, iRacing, full motion simulator, you name it. I just don't have what it takes to be fast at those 2 racetracks, and I accept it. I'm okay with it. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, I mean, he has just been extra. I mean, special isn't the word. I mean, this guy is, I mean, engaged God mode pretty much tonight on the racetrack, as he's just really absolutely scorched, toasted, and roasted. The best in the business in this field, as far as I'm concerned, in this Gen 4 race car. You don't get any better than these guys, and yet Taylor Butcher Benjamin is lurking right off the back of Sizzler and the one of Austin Collins just up in front of him. 9 laps to go. Less than 9 miles now for Taylor Butcher Benjamin to lead and dominate from flag to flag. Boy, this would be huge if he can get it done.
Tell you what, Thomas Harmon, he's making up time. It's gonna probably be too little too late, but made up 7/10 that last time around. It's 8.3 seconds of a gap right now. Harmon is definitely the quickest, or the quicker car on the track, and I'm not sure if Taylor Butcher Benjamin's just kind of taking it easy right now, or what he's got going on there, but he's sitting right behind Sisler.
I think that's exactly what it is, and we've seen this before. I think it was last week when we reversed the roles, when Harmon would have about a 5-second advantage, and he would let it shrink down to almost a second, and then he would see the 8 come to life again. I think that's what we're doing here. Don't force the issue. You have 8 seconds to the good. That's over, you know, that's over a second a lap. Sit right here. There's no reason to force it over Sisler. Lord knows what can happen if you go to make the pass. Great heads-up call there by the crew chief, telling that race car driver, dial it back. Let's just put it on autopilot here to the finish and minimize casualties. I think that's exactly what's going on, just like you said.
Coming down to 5 laps to go. Still unable to get around that 93. 7.4 seconds is the gap across the line. And I think it's just going to end up being a little too late for Thomas Harmon.
Yeah, certainly. One heck of a drive to eat an all-you-can-eat buffet out of that lead that Taylor Butcher Benjamin has accumulated over the course of this 150-lap race tonight.
Shoot, Taylor be putting that thing out of business. How he's eating out there.
Full course meal on wheels. And a nice cold bud to wash it down with. As now he's looking to go for steak and lobster in victory lane. As I believe he's going to let Matt Sisler here finish on the lead lap. I don't think you're going to see him challenge. Is that lead still over 7 seconds? Again, Harmon's coming quick, fast, in a hurry. In any other race, he'd be there. But just not today, under these circumstances and these conditions that Taylor Butcher Benjamin has absolutely crushed the competition with and set the standard in the bar that high. PJ O'Leary, Brandon Broby, that's 3rd and 4th on the racetrack. Brandon right where he started in that 3rd and final podium position. That 14, that's not for position. He's the first car a lap down. The 29 of O'Leary would be the first car to challenge, who is working just off the back of the 14. Solid runs for PJ and Springer once again.
Got Austin Collins back to 6th. Matt Sisler still in 7th. TK, we mentioned, talked about him before. He's in 8th place. So we've got Ralph Fasano, who is off the track as of lap 104, and then Antonio Mancini. We saw him with some heavy contact into the wall. But it's the final mile, the magic mile for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Keeping Matt Sisler in front of him. 2 more turns to get it done in this day of dominance. Gonna go in the books. Taylor Butcher Benjamin started from the pole, never looked back. Didn't really have much to look back at with the size of his gap. Comes across the checkered flag and wins here in New Hampshire.
How about D-Day version 2.0? The first one sparked the U.S. entry into World War II. Today, it was sparked by domination from the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who absolutely terminates the entire field from the flat blanks here at New Hampshire. What a run by Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He better burn the tires off that race car after a run like that. Are you kidding me?
There he goes, gonna burn it down. He's gonna try to blow down those tires. Go ahead and run you through the results real quick. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets the job done. 5-second win is not the whole story there, though. Thomas Harmon pulls off a 2nd place. Brandon Verby in 3rd. PJ O'Leary, Richard Springer, Austin Collins, Matt Sisler, Jacob Gladulich, Ralph Fasano Sr., and Antonio Mancini rounding out the field.
As he goes ahead and serves up an Alan Kowicki-style Polish victory lap, made famous by the late, great, last champion driver-owner, Alan Kowicki, who we lost in a helicopter crash back in the mid-90s. As he does it in similar fashion here in the Budweiser 8 machine, and a paint scheme made famous by Dale Earnhardt Jr., and rightfully so. As I got to imagine, this performance here has to be special to him.
Oh, it has to be. We're going to go ahead and talk to him. Taylor Butcher Benjamin. It's Liam and Matt up in the booth. What a performance today, dude. I mean, you almost led every lap. Almost had the entire... Oh, you did have the entire field a lap down at one point. Walk us through your day. It was virtually flawless.
Yeah, like I was saying in the pre-race, just wanted to keep it clean and keep all the clean air on the nose and walk away from this field, and fortunately it was able to. I was curious to see if Thomas had any damage or anything, but his car looked clean driving back around here. So, yeah, I was not expecting to be that far out in front. I was kind of taking it easy there at the end because I saw Austin and Matt really scrapping with each other, and figured it'd be not really smart on my behalf to get involved in that. So I just kind of let them go and rode behind them the rest of the race, and here we are.
Yeah, super dominant performance here today. And well, Matt, you got anything for Taylor?
Yeah, I absolutely do. Taylor, it might take a minute for it to set in what you just did here today. I mean, you guys, we know, are some of the best competitors in this series, in this Gen 4 car. You've had some epic battles with the 68. We've seen it go both ways. But today, I think everyone that watches the series at home, even us in the broadcast booth, we were sitting up here with our jaws hanging open literally probably the last half of that race. And then to do the unthinkable, right? You put the whole field a lap down in the modern era of NASCAR. I mean, Liam used the term domination. I had to make a World War II reference to try to describe the performance of what you put on the racetrack here. I mean, what a drive. I mean, that was incredible to watch you do that over some of the best in this car. Congratulations, man. Sink it. Let it sink in. That's probably one of the biggest statement wins I've ever seen in my life. Great job.
Thank you very much. I mean, to be honest, though, I mean, the whole field was a lap down because I stayed out the longest and during the green flag pit stop cycle there at the end. But it was a pretty cool feeling to be that far out in front. But I was still well, if I were able to take my hand off the wheel, I would have been biting my nails a little bit to like see if there was a late caution. And a few times my computer decided to give me a Windows update on one of my monitors. I'm like, please go away. And so luckily nothing happened there. But yeah, it's a good feeling. I don't think I've ever gone back to back in this league before, so that's pretty neat also. And Indianapolis next week is always fun, especially during the month of May in real life. So be cool to make it 3 in a row. Gotta give them my best shot next week.
Well, hey, man, momentum breeds momentum, and clearly there is no better case of that proof than what you just did here today. So enjoy Lobby the Lobster. You're going to get a fresh one. Congratulations on the win. Enjoy it. Before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank on that Budweiser 8 machine, that Spooky Juice race car? Because that thing was lights out, man.
Yeah, it was something else. I might actually have to go to Red Lobster this week to celebrate. But definitely shout out to Richard for bringing home a top 5. And it's weird to not have David tonight, but it's always a pleasure when he's with us. And of course, thanks to everybody that makes the league what it is and for you guys broadcasting this.
Now, believe me, Liam and I, we love being up here, and we do everything we can to try and give you guys the best broadcast we possibly can, because it is, you guys are deserving of it week in and week out. Congratulations. Once again, that is your winner, ladies and gentlemen, in total dominating fashion. From New Hampshire tonight, he comes home P1 in the 8. That is Taylor Butcher Benjamin, your winner. Liam, back to you, sir.
Third, second place, we're going to have in just a moment here. Thomas Harmon, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. Oh, he's not here. Told him the wrong one. Thomas, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Well, you had a great car today, but it was no match for Taylor Butcher Benjamin today at 68. Seemed pretty strong in second, though. It didn't seem like you had very many challengers.
No, just glad I was able to walk out here with a second. They could bomb this track, though. I can't stand this place.
Yeah, super clean race overall. We saw a lot of guys slipping and sliding. How are the tires out there on that hot, slick track?
It was definitely kind of tight on entry and then loose off. I think you could have pushed it a little bit harder on the exit than what I was initially thinking. Changed up how I was running the corner in that third stint, and it seemed to work. Granted, I know that Taylor was riding behind Sessler and Collins there towards the end, so it gave up a lot of ground. But I wish he would have kept going so that way I could compare how I was running then to how he was running. But overall, it was, the car was wild.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
You guys put on a wild show. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, that's actually my fault. I cut you off. It seemed at times out there that you may have been holding back a little bit. That last pit stop on your money stop, you hit the track and you turned on the jets. You ran the fastest lap of your race, the 30:14. Did you have that pace in the car the entire time? or was the fact of the fall off on those tires that really prevented you from being able to run that pace all night long and have something to compete with there at the end if you decided to run that hard all race long?
That was when I decided it was, I put at that point, it was time to push it just because it didn't seem like the tires fell off at all. And no matter how you ran it, it seemed like it was the same result. So, me and Collins were talking, and we're like, and he brought up that, maybe it just doesn't fall off. So, towards the middle end of that second stint, I started pushing it, and I seemed to hold mediocre ground a lot better than what I was. So, I decided to start pushing it from the word go at the third stint there. I wish I could have seen, like I said, wish I could have compared to Taylor, but unfortunately he was just riding behind everybody. So I couldn't tell for sure if I was working or not.
Well, I can tell you certainly there, the closing laps, you were coming quick, fast, and in a hurry. But it seemed like Taylor Butcher Benjamin was content just sitting off the back of the 93 of Sisler. But you're right, ran out of laps there to really find out for certain. But still, I mean, what an excellent season you've put together. Multiple wins, exciting performances, high octane finishes, and just one win away from tying the all-time record. Indy next week. How do you feel about your chances going in to the Motor City?
Well, with the way that the tires have acted these last couple weeks with the car, I really don't know. I kind of have to say I lost some confidence in this thing, but we'll see.
Appreciate you educating me there on the different tire models before the race. Appreciate your time. Thomas, before we cut you loose, as always, who do you want to thank? Who helps you get it done?
Give a shout out to you guys up in the booth for broadcasting it to everybody. All the drivers and fans that show up and watch us each week into the drive. League admins and JP for putting on the league. And again, for my daughter who's still not home yet.
Barry is, ladies and gentlemen, your your second place finisher here tonight comes up just a little bit short. Another bad fast race car. That is Thomas the Hammer Harmon in the 68 machine. Back to you, sir.
All right, now we got Brandon Brorby, third place runner. Brandon, it's Liam and Matt up in the booth. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty all right. How are you guys?
Not too bad. It seemed like you had yourself a bit of a scrap there on the last lap as PJ was chasing you down. Did you think he was going to get you?
Yeah, I mean, another couple laps. I'm sure he would have gotten there. Well, I mean, he was there at the end, but I'm pretty much just throughout the race. Taylor and Thomas ended up taking off, so, like pretty much as usual. But so at that point, third was pretty much my first, and then even that was in jeopardy when I saw PJ closing the gap there on that last run. Just trying to find my line and see if I could pull a gap, but pretty much anything I tried to just kept closing it, and then we ended up catching up to Drift there at the end. That kind of made things interesting, and then the ended up getting by him, and there on the last lap, I thought it was looking like it was going to be a drag race to the finish there, but unfortunately, it looks like he ended up getting loose out of 4, and but man, that guy had a fast car tonight. A lot of respect to PJ. He's a good, clean racer, and it's just a fun guy to race with overall.
Well, you started third, you finished third. It didn't necessarily tell the story of your day. You went up and down through the order. What was it like passing out here? It definitely looked tough. It looked like it took a couple of laps to complete. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, even the guys on older tires, it was pretty difficult to complete a pass out there. It definitely took a couple laps and trying to outbrake him into the corner, really to just get the run on him on the exit.
Well, you threw together a strong podium finish, and it went right down to the wire with that battle with PJ. Is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run today?
Yeah, I'd like to. I want to thank you guys. You guys put on a heck of a broadcast every week for us. It's always fun to go back and watch the commentary. I want to thank JP. It's unfortunate he couldn't make it out tonight, but I know he's here in spirit. Yeah, he gives us something to do every Saturday night, so it's wanted to thank him for that. I wanted to thank everybody who's tuning into this, my friends, family. Thank you guys for just pretty much the support.
Awesome stuff, Matt. Congratulations on your third place finish. We'll probably be talking to you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, Matt, that's going to about do it for us here. 150 super clean but super crazy laps at New Hampshire. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets the job done in dominating fashion.
Yeah, I mean, he took him to the cleaners and then some tonight. I mean, that car was just out of this world. I didn't expect that. I mean, certainly you expect him to be fast. You expect him and Harmon to be battling blazes until the checkered flag falls, but not tonight. I mean, look like he had all-wheel drive and double the horsepower. I mean, all phases of the race, that car was a banshee on the racetrack, executed flawlessly, puts the whole field a lap down. And that wasn't by the look of a caution. I mean, he just went up there and just served it to everyone on the racetrack. Gets the win. 68 comes home second. Very strong run. Brandon Broby continues to excel and improve. Big shout out to PJ Leary. He's coming on strong. Richard Springer again has another solid run. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, good things must come to an end. So make sure you slap the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when to join us next week in primetime as the Dynasty Racing Series invades Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you know it's going to be high-flying action as this race car is going to be screaming almost 10,000 RPMs into the corner. We appreciate you tuning in. So long. We'll see you next week from Indianapolis. I'm Matt. He's Liam Irving. We'll see you all next time and have a great evening.